Dan was talking.
Okay, there's a quote on his website that it's strategically and morally essential that the United States support the government of Iraq to become capable of governing itself and safeguarding its people. And he actually had an infamous quote, actually, that's come back to haunt him, that he will stay there for 100 years. Yeah?
No, this is not about Iraq, but I was asking about Pakistan. How would a McCain administration interact with Pakistan differently or similarly than, say, what we have with the Bush administration?
You know, I actually couldn't find anything about Pakistan.
Oh.
Sorry. Does anyone know anything about it?
I don't know about McCain in Pakistan, but I think Obama's decision on Pakistan is worth mentioning just because it's very unusual. It's, well, at least unusual for U.S. politicians. You know, it's a very Israeli position in that non-state actors are non-state actors. And if they're, you know, if the land that they happen to be operating on is claimed by another power, you know, if they're not enforcing their rule of law in that area, we can do it for them. If, you know, it's threatening our interests, and that's, you know, that's kind of a unique position. You know, it's kind of something to digest on your own, but very few people are thinking that way, especially in Pakistan, in the Waziristan region, where it's essentially its own country. It's, you know, the lawless tribal region that you always hear about on the news is that it's all, you know, it's all tribal run. The Pakistani government really doesn't run anything except for the intelligence services proxy armies, but that's extremely complicated. And
okay. Yeah, we don't want to get into that. And also, we just talked about foreign policies.
Yeah.
We kind of want to get to other issues. Well, did you want to say something, though, Anna? Or
oh yeah, I was just wondering how McCain. I mean, I guess McCain would define victory as the Iraqi government being able to stand on its own 2 feet. But how would he go about doing that? Would he have another surge, or?
He actually was. He was very supportive of the surge idea at first, and he claims that it was a huge victory.
Yeah.
So 2 of his main policies would be another surge and continue the counterinsurgency. In Iraq, there's something called the awakening movements, right? And what that is that's a counterinsurgency against against the insurgency right now, and that has been proven to be very successful for Iraq.
But then how does he want to account for the growth of insurgency in Afghanistan? You know,
right. In Afghanistan?
The reduction of troops there, which has led to greater instability.
In Afghanistan?
Yeah.
He's actually called that a victory, a quick victory in Iraq is essential because that would free up troops for Afghanistan, actually. So a surge in Afghanistan.
Yeah, so...
I want to do economy, I'm leaving too.
Yeah. So I'm into the economy both of you. So let's move on to the economy and development issues, and both think about also questions about domestic development and economy, and of course international, and also kind of the situation now is a global thing. So if you have questions immediately, you can ask them, or you guys can just talk about it. Oh, right. That's right. Okay, that's true. Okay, so fine. Let's go to environment first. Yeah. So. Any questions on Obama or McCain's environmental plans? Or Amanda, do you want to just talk about... Is your question? Oh, that's not anyways.
Okay.
McCain's...
Sure, I can give a little more about McCain's stuff. Well, as you know, I hope all of you guys know, drill baby drill pretty much is McCain's policy. I mean, he wants to do like a domestic oil exploration rather than keep importing stuff. And actually, some interesting stuff that I read about him. He wants to have a clean car challenge. Which has anybody heard of that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I thought that was pretty awesome. Do you guys know what it is, or do you want me to explain it?
We have one going on now.
Yeah.
It's like a $10 million prize if anyone.
Yeah, well, so I guess what McCain adds on to that is if people buy those cars, if and when they come out, they'll get a $5,000 tax rebate, pretty much. So, an incentive to do that. He also has an initiative to make all federal buildings green. So I think there's 3.3 billion square feet in the United States of federal buildings. So he wants to push towards a green world. I mean, it's pretty basic stuff. I mean, he supports ethanol. I mean, he wants, I think it's cellulosic ethanol, which won't compete with food crops.
Yeah, and I think Obama he calls for most of the same similar things there, but he also, I don't think McCain goes as far as Obama in terms of the really aggressive environmental policies. Like, I don't know if McCain supports as strict a cap and trade program, or as specific and targeted goals for. Obama wants to reduce carbon emissions by 80% by 2050. I'm not sure.
Yeah, McCain has a plan. I'm not sure if he
it's probably not.
Does.
But I think Obama's plan is definitely more, involves stricter requirements on businesses and corporations in terms of lowering their carbon emissions. Also, I don't know if McCain talks about fuel efficiency standards as well, but I know that Obama definitely wants to make those stricter as well. Let's see if I can get the exact.
Yeah, he's a supporter of flex fuel vehicles.
Right. So I think McCain is saying, we should support these new cleaner vehicles, but he's not going as far as Obama in terms of requiring fuel efficiency standards to be made, new ones, and stricter ones. Like, let me see if I can get it exactly. Increase fuel economy standards so that by 4% each year there should be an increase in fuel economy for the auto industry each year. Yes.
Well, I wanted to go back to the cap and trade thing, and then the reducing carbon emissions by 80% by 2050.
Yeah.
The longest Obama's going to be office until is the beginning of 2017, and that is so. Implementing that policy is contingent, or the continued implementation of that policy is contingent on how probably the next 5 presidents deal with the changes that Obama wants to make.
It's true.
So he can't really make that promise, because you could imagine if he does say, for example, he does stay in office for 8 years, and then we get a Republican or another Democrat perhaps for whom the environment is not really central to their policy, and they sort of maybe downsize the scale of the efforts that Obama's making, and that goal is pretty much.
Yeah. Wait. Laura, you want to say something?
Yeah. At least on the state level, I was just working on this in my internship, and those cap and trade programs don't occur at the executive level. They usually occur within the departments themselves. So even if future presidents don't particularly, they'd have to change like the entire. It's more of an internal bureaucracy type thing that they fix within the department. So like the New York State government and the governor, they're all in support of like a regional cap and trade program, but it's not like a law that's proposed. It's not like officially. It's not on the legislative record. It's more something that they support, and then the funds get used.
So does he have any influence over that at all then? Or is this just something that he's saying because?
I think it's something that he does have influence over. I think it depends on the people he puts in the cabinets and the people. Once the ball is rolling on it, it's harder to stop than just switching presidents who switch policies.
Yeah, when I was in office, they released every month this ridiculous book, and it was called Rules and Regulations that all of the agencies came up with, and all of the fine-tuning of legislation as to how they're going to implement it. And those rules and regulations, after they put them in that ridiculous book that we got every month, they're very rarely revisited. So it would have to be a huge upheaval of legislation.
What is the flex fuel car anyway?
Joe, do you want to explain that?
Yeah, well, I think flex fuel car is just a more efficient vehicle. Uses less. I think it's less gasoline.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure exactly what it is, but it's more efficient. But I guess the thing McCain's just saying that we should.
Less carbon emissions.
I believe.
He's saying we should encourage this, or maybe offer some kind of moderate incentives.
Yeah, the $5,000.
Yeah, but
to buy.
I mean that won't be as aggressive in causing change as a mandate saying we will have these fuel efficiency standards at these targeted dates. McCain just say, please do this with these $5,000 incentive, but it's not a mandate, which we think is, or some of us think is necessary if we really want to combat climate change and want to reduce our carbon emissions.
Yeah, what's Obama's stance on offshore drilling?
Okay.